Fractal Design's Define R series has long been the go-to for like sleeper PC builds, workstations, people that just prefer a more minimalist aesthetic in their PC experience, and it's offered a lot in the way of quiet operation and flexibility. The previous R6 introduced a convertible interior where you could open up a lot of the inside space in exchange for some storage. It was a really strong outing with only a couple of drawbacks. Fractal has a reputation for pushing the envelope in terms of intelligent design, so it'll be interesting to see what they've done with the Define 7 now that they've officially dropped the R. You ready? Let's go! Yo, I'm Brian P. You're watching Bad Seed Tech, and today we're checking out the Define 7 computer case from Fractal Design. So we're back now to a more minimal aesthetic than we saw on like the recent Define S2 Vision, a case I actually still use because it's gorgeous, but I don't think it was well received by their core fan base. The Define 7 is available in white, black, or gray with a couple different interior options and tint options. This one's the black and white with clear tempered glass, and it carries an MSRP of $169.99 US. If you're used to a more mid-sized tower, this feels like way more space to build in, but it's really not that much larger. Longer for sure, and just a touch wider. It's actually just a touch larger in every dimension than the R6 or the S2 Vision, but the minor increase in external dimension yields a few key major improvements in accommodating larger GPUs and radiators regardless of how you have it configured. This was the major leap forward feature of the R6, the ability to convert the internal space from a drive-based storage monster to an open layout similar to what we saw in the S series to allow for big custom water cooling installs. So interior space now is just a beast regardless of layout. Either way you go, you'll have support for up to 420mm rads in the top, 360 in the front, and 280 in the base. They've also opened up full access to the basement area behind the shroud as well, so it's a lot easier to work down there, and it offers the benefit of masking whatever rat's nest you manage to stuff down there. You have a grand total of 9 120 or 140mm fan positions. 3 140mm fans are included. These are the Dynamic X2 GP14. Decent fans with 1000 RPM max. They're not PWM though, and I wish there was at least some kind of anti-vibration mount. You also get the Nexus Plus 2 fan hub. This great design here is it's low profile, snugged up into the top lip of the rear. It's a good location to cable routing. It handles 3 PWM fans and 6 3-pin fans for a total of 9, so the whole case is covered. I like that. Talking storage, out of the box you get support for 3 3.5-inch drives and 2 2.5-inch drives, so 9 total included. You have 6 drive trays that can do either 3.5 or 2.5-inch drives, 2 caddies that do 2.5 only, and one of these new multi-mount brackets. These support 3.5 and 2.5-inch drives, as well as pumps and reservoirs, and can be installed anywhere you have a 120mm fan mount, the front removable section of the PSU shroud, as well as anywhere along this modular storage plate. I mean, that's already pretty beefy, but you can expand all the way up to 14+4 or 15+4 by purchasing additional drive trays or a drive cage that goes in the basement next to the existing one. Both the cage and the new trays are really heavy duty. The trays are steel. They do fit the cage very snug. On mine, the top slot was so tight I actually unscrewed the captive thumb screw trying to get it out. I'm going off memory here, but I feel like the SSD positions on the shroud have been adjusted slightly. So while you do get the nice grommeted opening on the first position, you'll likely be using this little pass-through here for the second one. Also worth noting that depending on your motherboard, this first grommeted pass-through in the shroud can get really crowded. Like I said, you do gain additional inside length for the GPU, an extra 26mm in the open layout and an extra 15 in storage layout over the R6. The slot covers are bridgeless too. I love this. When you take the cover off, there's no crossbar piece down the middle, so you have complete unobstructed access to the rear ports on your GPU. You do still get vertical GPU support, up to 2.5-inch slot thickness. There is increased width here for a little more breathing room, but I'd still go liquid if I was running anything wider than like 2 slots, and you will need that flex riser kit, which is not included with the case. This will also handle EATX motherboards no sweat, only partially obscuring the grommets. Speaking of, cable management is outstanding as usual, with 2 side and 2 top grommeted pass-throughs, plus a little 4-pin cutout and 2 pass-throughs on the shroud, 3 big channels with Velcro straps down the center and a Velcro channel toward the rear, along with lots of little lips and channels and tie-down spots. They always do this well, and this case is no exception. Power supply length is no concern either unless you do pick up and install the separate drive cage, in which case you may want to be conscious of that. Outside, there's a lot to love here too. Everything is toolless, it's really simple, it works exactly the way it's supposed to. It's so nice. Front I/O has audio, mic, reset, USB-C, 2 USB 2, and 2 USB 3. Top panel just pops off really clean in one piece, so no more of that like hit or miss latching system. Does have noise dampening, so you get the completely solid option. You also get a vented top. I really like the new design here. The dust filter has its own mounting points now instead of the potentially confusing like double stack system we had before. You do still have the removable radiator mounting tray with the fill port, but it's not like the entire top that comes off now. It's like 3/4. I really like what they've done up here. The only accessory I'd like to see added to the lineup is the possibility for a glass top like the S2 Vision, because it's just such a good look. Regardless, once you build in a case that has an open roof, you'll never want to build in anything else ever again. Side panels get a redesign here as well. These were already great. Now they're even better. You can't pull these with a single hand. They hinge on the bottom and it's just this easy clip here on the rear. If you do want to travel with these or just for extra security, there are spots for optional screws under the front bezel. You can get additional TG panels in dark tint if you want to do both sides of the case in glass. The strength of this little like handle clip piece here is the only thing that makes me a little nervous, but great design overall. Front panel 2 gets an update. It finally opens the right way standard out of the box. You can still flip it if need be, and it's got this cool double hinge design here. The anodized aluminum front wraps around the corners. It looks pretty smooth. You do still get this big chamber in the front with the filtered side vents, also big slatted dust filter on the front, and a small one for the optical drive bay. If you're not going to use this bay, you can flip this and then remove a portion of the lower shroud, and then you can fit 3 140mm fans stacked in the front. The entire bottom is filtered as well, and plenty of clearance on the bottom of the case for airflow. I almost never mention manuals in product reviews, but the Fractal manuals are outstanding. Not only do you get a few different examples of systems that you can put together if you're having trouble visualizing where everything should go, but you also have a radiator fitment guide and a fan fitment guide and a basic guide for building a system start to finish, all included in the manual. Most of the functions of the case are pretty straightforward, but doing something like changing that convertible layout, do yourself a favor and just read the manual first. So the big takeaway for me with this case is flexibility. You can build whatever you want in here, easily too, and if you change your mind later and decide you want to go a completely different way, easy. I really like this big cover plate up front in storage mode because it would make a really cool canvas for like a custom vinyl wrap. Comes out super easy too. I like the new logo. I like the new patterns in the vents and the slot covers. Fractal always nails it in the details. One thing I'm not crazy about are some of the fitment and the tolerances with the drive trays. Like getting them in and out of that lower cage is pretty rough. And when you do that conversion to storage mode, there's like a little wiggle room with each screw. They don't just line up as easy as they should. And that front panel aluminum is still just as prone to fingerprints and oil as it ever was. Still though, outside of a couple minor complaints, at $169.99 US with some flavors available at $159.99, this is an easy W for me. Once you build in a high-end case that has really intelligent decisions and concessions made for system builders, you're never gonna wanna build in a low-end case ever again. Even something around the $100 mark. It's super worth it. And if for some reason you need even more space, they are launching another version called the Define 7 XL today as well. As always, any questions, hit me in the comments or drop by the Discord. And that's it for this time. I'm Brian P. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that sub button, and until next time, stay up.